It's a race. It's a race to develop these systems. Is that why you came back to Google?
I mean, I think as a computer scientist, it's a very unique time in history. Like, honestly, anybody who's a computer scientist should not be retired right now, should be working on AI. That's what I would just say. I mean, there's just never been a greater sort of problem and opportunity, a greater cusp of technology. So I wouldn't say it's because of the race, although we fully intend that Gemini will be the very first AGI, clarify that. But to be immersed in this incredible technological revolution, I mean, it's unlike, I went through sort of the Web 1.0 thing. It was very exciting, and whatever. We had mobile, we had this, we had that. But I think this is scientifically far more exciting. And I think ultimately the impact on the world is going to be even greater. In as much as the web and mobile phones have had a lot of impact, I think AI is going to be vastly more transformative.
So what do you do day to day?
I think I torture people like Demis. It was amazing, by the way. He tolerated me crashing this fireside. I'm in I'm across the street, pretty much every day, and they're just people who are working on the key Gemini text models, on the pre-training, on the post-training. Mostly those, I periodically delve into some of the multimodal work. VO3 is you've all seen, but I tend to be pretty deep in the technical details. And that's a luxury I really enjoy, fortunately, because guys like Demis are, minding the shop. Yeah, that's just where, my scientific interest is. It's deep in the algorithms and how they can evolve.
Okay. Let's talk about the products a little bit, some that were introduced recently. I just want to ask you a broad question about agents, Demis, because when I look at other tech companies building agents, what we see in the demos is usually something that's contextually aware, has a disembodied voice, is often interacted. You often interact with it on a screen. When I see DeepMind and Google demos, oftentimes it's through the camera. It's very visual. There was an announcement about smart glasses today. So talk a little bit about if that's the right read, why Google is so interested in having an assistant or a companion that is something that sees the world as you see it.
Well, it's for several reasons. Several threads come together. So as we talked earlier, we've always been interested in agents. That's actually the heritage of DeepMind. Actually, we started with agent-based systems in games. We are trying to build AGI, which is a full general intelligence. Clearly, that would have to understand the physical environment, the physical world around you. And two of the massive use cases for that, in my opinion, are a truly useful assistant that can come around with you in your daily life, not just stuck on your computer or one device. It needs to, we want it to be useful in your everyday life for everything. And so it needs to come around you and understand your physical context. And then the other big thing is I've always felt for robotics to work, you sort of want what you saw with Astra on a robot. And I've always felt that the bottleneck in robotics isn't so much the hardware, although obviously there's many companies and working on fantastic hardware, and we partner with a lot of them, but it's actually the software intelligence that I think is always what's held robotics back. But I think we're in a really exciting moment now where finally, with these latest versions, especially 2.5 Gemini, and more things that we're going to bring in, this kind of VO technology and other things, I think we're going to have really exciting algorithms to make robotics finally work in its, and sort of realize its potential, which could be enormous. So I think this, and then in the end, AGI needs to be able to do all of those things. So for us, and that's why you can see, we always had this in mind. That's why Gemini was built from the beginning, even the earliest versions, to be multimodal. And that made it harder at the start, because it's harder to make things multimodal than just text only. But in the end, I think we're reaping the benefits of those decisions now, and I see many of the Gemini team here in the front row, of the correct decisions we made. They were the harder decisions, but we made the right decisions, and now you can see the fruits of that with all of what you've seen today, actually.
Sergey, I've been thinking about whether to ask you a Google Glass question.
Fire away.
What did you learn from Glass that Google might be able to apply today now that it seems like smart glasses have made a reappearance?
Wow, yeah, great question. I learned a lot. I mean, that was, I definitely feel like I made a lot of mistakes with Google Glass, I'll be honest. I am still a big believer in the form factor, so I'm glad that we have it now. And now it's like, looks like normal glasses, doesn't have the thing in front. I think there was a technology gap, honestly. Now in the AI world, the things that these glasses can do to help you out without constantly distracting you, that capability is much higher. There's also just, I just didn't know anything about consumer electronics supply chains really, and how hard it would be to build that and have it be at a reasonable price point, managing all the manufacturing and so forth. This time we have great partners that are helping us build this. So that's another step forward. What else can I say? I do have to say I miss the airship with the wingsuiting skydivers for the demo. Honestly, it would have been even cooler here at Shoreline Amphitheater than it was up in Moscone back in the day. But maybe we'll have to. We should probably polish the product first this time.
This time. We'll do it that way around
it's ready and available, and then we'll do a really cool demo. So that's probably a smart move.
Yeah, what I will say is, I mean, look, we've got obviously an incredible history of glass devices and smart devices, so we can bring all those learnings to today. And I'm very excited about our new glasses, as you saw. But what I've always talking to our team and Shahram and the team about is that, I mean, I don't know if Sergey would agree, but I feel like the Universal Assistant is the killer app for smart glasses. And I think that's what's going to make it work, apart from the fact that it's all the hardware technology has also moved on and improved a lot. I feel like this is the actual killer app, the natural killer app for it.
Okay. Briefly on video generation, I sat in the audience in the keynote today and was like fairly blown away by the level of improvement we've seen from these models. And I mean, you had filmmakers talking about it in the presentation. I want to ask you, Demis, specifically about model quality. If the internet fills with video that's been made with artificial intelligence, does that then go back into the training and lead to a lower quality model than if you were training just from human-generated content?
Yeah, well, look, we know there's a lot of worries about this so-called like model collapse. I mean, video is just one thing, but in any modality, text as well. There's a few things to say about that. First of all, we're very rigorous with our data quality management and curation. We also, at least for all of our generative models, we attach synth ID to them. So there's this invisible AI actually made watermark that is very robust, has held up now for a year, 18 months since we released it. And all of our images and videos are embedded with this watermark. So we can detect, and we're releasing tools to allow anyone to detect these watermarks and know that that was an AI-generated image or video. And of course, that's important to combat deepfakes and misinformation, but it's also, of course, you could use that to filter out, if you wanted to, whatever was in your training data. So I don't actually see that as a big problem. Eventually, we may have video models that are so good, you could put them back into the loop as a source of additional data, synthetic data it's called. And there, you just got to be very careful that you're actually creating from the same distribution that you're going to model. You're not distorting that distribution somehow. The quality is high enough. We have some experience of this in a completely different domain with things like AlphaFold, where there wasn't actually enough real experimental data to build the final AlphaFold. So we had to build an earlier version that then predicted about 1 million protein structures. And then we selected, it had a confidence level on that. We selected the top 300,000-400,000 and put them back in the training data. So there's lots of, it's very cutting edge research to like mix synthetic data with real data. So there are also ways of doing that. But in terms of the video sort of generator stuff, you can just exclude it if you want to, at least with our own work. And hopefully other gen media companies follow suit and put robust watermarks in. Also, obviously, first and foremost, to combat deepfakes and misinformation.
Okay, we have 4 minutes. I got 4 questions left. We now move to the miscellaneous part of my questions. Let's see how many we can get through and as fast as we can get through them. Let's go to Sergey with this one. What does the web look like in 10 years?
What does the web look like in 10 years? I mean...
You've got 1 minute.
Boy, I think 10 years, because of the rate of progress in AI, is so far beyond anything we can
Best guess.
see. Not just the web.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think we really know what the world looks like in 10 years.
Okay. Demis?
Well, I think that's a good answer. I do think the web, I think in nearer term, the web is going to change quite a lot if you think about an agent-first web. Like, does it really need to, it doesn't necessarily need to see renders and things like we do as humans using the web. So I think things will be pretty different in a few years.
Okay. This is kind of an under-over question. AGI before 2030 or after 2030?
2030. Boy, you really kind of put it on that fine line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say before.
Before.
Yeah.
Demis?
I'm just after.
Just after.
Yeah.
Okay.
No pressure, Demis.
Exactly.
What?
I have to go back and get working harder.
Is that
I can ask for it. He needs to deliver it.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop sandbagging. We need
That's
next
true.
week.
That's true.